For daily ask Reddit. Redditors who work or have worked in retail, what's your rhyme about to lose my shite moment you had with a customer? This wasn't an incident that made me angry, but rather I was going to lose my shit in the sense this interaction made me feel like I was losing my mind. I worked at a weird Starbucks that was drive-through and walk-up only. There was no indoor seating. There were signs on either side of the walk-up window displaying a menu with a photo of each product that was listed. If I was working at the walk-up window I couldn't see the menu, even if I leaned out the window as much as I could. One day a woman came to the store, asked me a question about parking or something, and then ordered. She pointed at the menu and said, "Could I have that one?" "I'm sorry, which drink are you pointing at?" She points again. "That one." "I can't see the menu from here. Could you tell me what drink it is?" "That one." "I really can't see the menu. Can you tell me what it says?" "That one." What the fuck? Maybe she doesn't speak English. No, she asked me something in perfect English earlier. Maybe she's embarrassed to pronounce the drink name wrong. Maybe she's illiterate. What color is it? That one. Do you want a hot or cold drink? That one. Do you want something with coffee or maybe something sweet? That one. Did you want a frappuccino? That one. It went on like this for a while until I gave up and just rang her up for a grand iced caramel macchiato. She seemed perfectly happy with it when I handed it to her. I worked at a department store. I was in charge of the truck and stocking. Usually this included making the department I worked look good, refolding clothes, straightening stacks, sizing the clothing racks, etc. I'd just finished the juniors department when I turn around and see so many clothes on the floor. There was a teenager picking up folded shirts to look at them, and then she was just throwing them on the ground. It was a particularly bad day for me as all but 2 of our truck team had called in. I didn't have time for this shit at all. I politely asked her to stop throwing the merchandise on the floor. It's fine if she wanted to just set the stuff back onto the tables, but seriously stop throwing it on the ground. This turned into her proceeding to throw piles of folded clothes on the ground, picking up hanging items and just tossing them. So I asked where her parents were. She refused to answer. So I paged overhead asking for the parent of said teen. I described her clothing and hair to come to the juniors department as their daughter had something amazing surprise for them. It wasn't long before a lady walked over with a smile on her face, and then it just fell into the most pissed off / disappointed / disgusted look. She looked at me, then her daughter. The girl tried to say I was the one that did this and was trying to blame her for being bad at my job. Her mom was having none of that. Mom apologized profusely for her daughter's behavior and asked me to show her how we folded the clothes. I tried to tell her not to worry about it. I just wanted her kid to stop. She insisted. Sony showed her the fold we used on shirts and the ones we used on pants. I started picking things up and noticed that the mom had gone to work telling her daughter how to fold everything. Eventually she told me I could go do something else. They weren't leaving until her daughter fixed everything. I had other things to do, but I came back later and they were finishing up. Daughter was in tears, saying she was humiliated and that this wasn't her job. Mom just kind of stood there chuckling and said, "It's your job right now. You make a mess, you pick it up. Rules don't stop at our front door. They apply to anywhere you go." Started off as one of the worst experiences, but ended on a high note, for me at least. I worked at Target in the clothing department for about 3 years. One night I was on the closing shift, 6 PM to 11 PM. If you work the closing shift, you spend pretty much the entire shift zoning your assigned area. For me, that meant folding clothes for 5 hours. This particular night I was assigned the women's area, which is the largest. Around 8 PM a woman, probably in her late 40s, approached me. She asked if I could help her find maxi skirts. I happily walked her to where they were. She then asks my opinion on which skirts I like the best. Again, I happily told her. She grabs every single print we offer in the skirt. Then she asks me to come back to the fitting room with her. I obliged. When we get back to the fitting room she wants me to stand outside the dressing room as she tries the skirts on. She comes out after each one and spends about 5 minutes going back and forth on does this look good? Is it the right size? I don't like it. Actually I do like it. She asked me to fetch different sizes for different prints. She also has an attitude while she's doing all of this, telling me that it's my job to help her. This went on until about 9:30. Finally, I think she's done. She now has about 20 to 25 skirts in her dressing room. She leaves them all sprawled out in the room and proceeds to tell me that she doesn't want any of them. Then she tells me to have a good night and leaves, leaving her mess behind. It took everything in me to smile back and to say, have a good night as well. Also, about 2 years later, my cousin was working at an office and some lady came in there. When my cousin was telling me about the lady and how she was a pain in the ass, who kept going back and forth on things and was being so rude, we discovered it was the same lady I had helped before. So apparently this is the norm for her. Former Blockbuster employee here. There was a woman who not only absolutely refused to pay her late fees, which were legitimate, she became so enraged that she threw her stack of tapes at me, hitting me in the face. She then marched around the store and knocked every cassette, DVD, and cover box that she could reach off of the shelves, some with her hands, some by swinging her purse, while shouting obscenities. My manager got on the phone and called the police. When angry lady finished trashing the store, she demanded to know which cars out on the parking lot my coworker and I drove. When we refused to say, she spit at us and knocked all of the candy / shelf talker / etc off of the counters and began stomping on them. I don't know if it was divine intervention or luck or what, but as angry lady was spitting and stomping on the candy, another woman walked into the store. This woman just happened to be my next door neighbor and a police officer. Officer neighbor lady approached angry lady and identified herself as a police officer. As she attempted to ask what the problem was, angry lady shouted, "Where's your fucking badge, bitch?" Spit at officer neighbor lady and attempted to flee. Officer neighbor lady grabbed angry lady before she could reach the door and a scuffle ensued. In a blink, officer neighbor lady kicked angry lady's legs out from under her and she went down like a sack of bricks. I'll never forget the smack sound her face made when it hit the concrete floor. Satisfying. While she held angry lady down, officer neighbor lady asked me to go get her purse, out of which she pulled a pair of handcuffs. As the cuffs locked around her wrists, it was then that angry lady finally realized what trouble she was in. She began to sob and wail loudly. She promised to make nice, pay her fee, and begged to be let go. 2 uniformed officers arrived and hauled angry lady away, screaming and crying like a lunatic. Turned out angry lady was actually the mother of a student at my school. I was in high school at the time. He avoided me for the rest of the year. Felt terrible for the guy. We found out later that angry lady was not under the influence of any alcohol or drugs. She was just a volatile childish asshole. She was banned from every corporate Blockbuster store. Oh, and the late fee she owed? $12. Worked at Kmart, sporting goods and toys to be specific, during my high school and early college years, and people would often pull the "I found this product under this tag for a lower price, so does I mean I get it at that price?" Well, this one woman did this and would not let up. She had a football that rung up $30, but wanted it at the price of that tag, where she found the product for $5, which was a fishing lure. I told her that I cannot price match based on that. What can you price match based on? I tell her. So you won't price match this, even though it was sitting there under the wrong tag? No, I cannot, I'm sorry. I've had it done before. I've seen it done before, so I know it can be done. Explain again how the price match policy works. We go round and round for about 10 minutes before she pulls her. "Let me speak to your manager." At this point I'm pretty angry but reserved. I call my manager and then leave briefly to go get him and tell him about the customer and their complaint. We walk back to the counter and she tells him the same things she's been telling me. He says sorry about that ma'am and does a price override and gives it to her for the $5. After payment, the manager walks back. The customer gives me a snarky "F you" look and walks away with her purchase. F you Bruce. F you Botch. I was just doing my job and then I ended up looking like the asshole. No wonder Kmart failed.